I'm recording. Hey, let's get to it. Hey y'all, welcome back to another episode of What the Navy, episode 2. What's the title? We haven't decided on a title yet. Let's go ahead. We'll decide after. This is episode 2. We recorded episode 1 last week, titled Race Relations with Commander Mason and Senior Chief Jagger. And that was our first recording. That was our first live session, potentially the only live session that we do. What y'all think about it?
I like the live sessions. We can have some pre-recorded sessions too, and then have some live ones here and there. Keep it raw and uncut.
That's what the original intent of this was, to be raw and uncut, unedited. That was what the original intent that I had was for this, actually.
I was expecting the first episode cussing. There wasn't any cussing.
Yeah,
Everyone
it was clean.
Up, right? Okay, yeah, I messed up. So I messed up as the last person to do introductions, and I said, "Oh, we're let's get straight to it. We're gonna do introductions with the other 3 afterward," and we didn't get around to it. So this episode, I just want to dedicate to y'all. So yeah, let's
to your
do
defense, though, it was very long. It was an hour and a half. So I agree we didn't really have time to do it at the end, but it wasn't that big of a deal.
Yeah.
And if we left it to Petty Officer Battaglia, we'd be recording for about 3 hours. So we might have gotten it in there, but we would have been 2 hours over. But hey, check it out. So I have a professional relationship with all of you guys. Basically, starting with Petty Officer Sorolla. We started kicking it in MWR program, and we still hustling with that. I think I met Petty Officer Battaglia afterward when I started the job that I work now. I walk by him 8, 9, 10 times a day, anyways. So he tagged along with the Sailor 360 program. He's the lead for the community relations efforts along with Petty Officer Stephan. And then, we've been kicking it for maybe 5, 6 months now.
Somewhere around there.
And then, of course, Petty Officer Davis. When did we run into each other? I think it was a Sailor 360 training.
Sailor 360, and then I just saw you around the office sometimes. And I was like, oh, hey, that's about it. Sailor 360, that's what it was.
It was one of them relationships where it's like when our eyes lock, we got, hey.
Yeah, honestly, half the time I was like, I don't remember his name, but hey, how you doing, Chief?
It was a couple times I was like.
That's generally how all my interactions go.
That's cool. That's beautiful because, I'm not going to describe where we work, right? But that doesn't happen a lot, My biggest frustration is like it's so easy to put energy into just walking by people that you'll potentially see for like the next 3 years, civilians, other joint service members, and that's not what I'm about. That's not what Sailor 360 is about. That's not what this podcast is about. The podcast is about sailors, and you guys are sailors. I can't think of any 3 people better to learn, personal views and opinions about things related to, to our job. So with that said, I don't really know much about y'all because we have a professional relationship. So I just wanted to take this opportunity to find out more. So are we going to be able to do that within the 50 minutes left that we have to record? Actually, I think we only have like 30 minutes left, right?
I think so.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no, yeah. No. I started this, so we can record for 24 hours if we wanted to.
Don't take a page out of my book.
Who we're going to start off with? Let's go in alphabetical order. Petty Officer Battaglia.
That's a mistake.
Who are you?
I don't know who I am, honestly.
Okay. Let me ask something a little bit more directed. Where you from? Good sir?
I am from Eastlake, Ohio, also known as Cleveland, Ohio, if you want to find it on a map.
Okay. Did you attend school?
I did. I attended school at Eastlake North High School, and those stories of that and my other schools that I went to previously will be for another episode.
How many other schools did you go to?
The other schools that are required: middle
Like,
school, elementary school. I could go on for an hour on those guys.
Did you live in Cleveland your whole life, or
Started out in Menard, then we moved to my grandparents' house where my dad bought his house after my grandmother died. So lived at my grandparents' house the entire rest of the time. I think we moved there in 90, 94, 95,
what year were you born?
89. By the way, we're the oldest two here. These two are 21. So
Okay, thanks
yeah,
for pointing.
the year I moved,
Season.
you guys were born. That's actually kind of crazy.
I don't really brag about being the oldest anymore. But
Yeah, it's no longer fun.
so I know you have at least one brother.
I do.
Do you have any other siblings?
I have one little sister, and her name's Kimmy.
How old is she?
She is 27.
Oh, when you said little, I thought you were going to say like 7 or 13.
No, she's my younger sister. All three of us are really close in age. The biggest difference in age is between me and my little sister.
And then your brother's older than you, or
Yeah, I'm older.
younger. So your brother's in the Navy.
Yep.
And your brother's a corpsman,
Nope, he's a D seaman.
seaman, but he's a chief petty officer, if I remember correctly. Okay.
Yep.
All right. Is your sister in the Navy?
No, she is not allowed in the Navy. She's not allowed in any branch of service. My little sister actually has a few learning disabilities that prevent her from doing anything like that.
Okay. How was it growing up with a sister who had learning disabilities, and how do you think it shaped your character,
I would say rough at first because when you're young, you don't understand. And as she got older, became her protector. Anytime anybody at school, once she finally got the same school as me, which was in high school, nobody messed with my little sister. I would actually go into that hallway and make sure she made it to her class without anybody messing with her.
Did people often mess with her, or?
So that's the funny thing. Most people wouldn't think it, but at least in my high school, there were football players or other cliques of students that would go down to the learning disabled hallway, the special education hallway, and mock them. And when my little sister told me about that, I started escorting her to class. And it's proceeded after me and my brother joined the Navy. So during our RAP duty, we just happened to take it together. Both of us showed up in our NSUs. Now I'm pretty sure if we showed up, we'd be a lot scarier because we have more ribbons and higher rank. 2 seamen with 2 ribbons each. Not too scary if you think about it. But
It's like, look how cute they are.
Yeah. I was thinking about that the other day. I was like, hey, nobody knows what that means. You show up with a bunch of ribbons, they're going to think you're a badass.
So you were a protector. Do you think you're still a protector when it comes to sailors, or?
Sorella, Davis, didn't I say that I think of you guys as my younger sisters?
Yeah.
You sure did.
And is it my duty to A, protect you, or B, mess with you, or C, all of the above?
All of the above, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Davis, you haven't gotten a taste of it yet, but you're gonna. You're gonna. Sorolla, when I knew where her desk was, I would go and move things all the time. I wasn't the only one, but I told her if she found my desk, she could get me back. She never did.
Haven't y'all known each other for like a week since we started this podcast?
No.
Or
No.
In passing at some point, I think. I don't know exactly when, but we've had interactions before that. Sorolla, do you remember? I don't.
I think it was whenever I had my blue jacket
your
of
board,
the
your blue jacket
my
of the
blue
quarter
jacket.
board.
Yeah.
So funny story on Sorolla when she did her blue jacket of the quarter board. Do you remember the question I asked you?
I don't remember.
Anyways, I do. Because you gave me the most terrifyingly scary, awesome answer ever. And I walked away from when you answered that, I was like, uh-oh. Don't want to deal with her. She'll put you in your place.
what was it?
So the question was, she's the work center supervisor, and she has a peer, an E4, fellow E4, and a E5, a second class, in her work center. They're both assigned to do maintenance, and you say, get it done by Thursday. Come Thursday, maintenance isn't done. What do you do? Do you remember what your answer was?
I don't remember what I said.
Yeah. It's probably the same thing. You said that you would tell your friend to get off there and do it, and you would remind the senior petty officer that while he may have you in rank, you would have him in position of authority, which is exactly what I was looking for.
I believe that too about petty officer Sorolla.
It's happened.
I think Davis would do it too.
Yeah, I believe that. Where do you get that from? Where does that come from?
That is definitely from my father. He is very focused and driven. I feel like a lot of that I get from him as far as being determined. And when you say something, don't let someone think that, they're just words. You're going to make it happen because what I say matters and I'm doing things for a reason. And I feel like that gets going into like work talk. I feel like that gets lost in a lot of translation is whenever people get told to do something, they don't see the reason why, but there's a bigger picture at stake. And if someone's telling you to do something because they're in charge, there's always a reason. And I don't know, that's kind of like what my dad has instilled in me.
Where's your where are you guys from?
San Antonio, Texas, near there. Texas. Yeah.
Okay. All right. That's where you've been all your life?
Yes. So I always say San Antonio, but it's actually a small town called Lemming, Texas. And then I went to school in Pleasanton, Texas, because Lemming was too small. We didn't have a school there. And so we had to drive about like 10 to 15 minutes to get to school and work and everything like that. Yeah.
Okay. When you were 12 years old, what did you want to be when you grew up?
12. Ooh. I'm pretty sure I wanted to be the CEO of something because I know that whenever I was super young, like in that stage of like, what do I want to do? What do I want to get like my degree in and stuff? Because I'm a planner. I wanted to be the CEO of something, some type of business. I wanted to be top dog.
Okay. I see that. President, secretary, and treasurer. No, I'm just messing. But,
Empress.
Is that still your goal?
To be the CEO? No. Now it's Master Chief.
Master Chief. Okay.
I wouldn't go as far as McPon, but I don't know. I want to be a Master Chief at least.
Do you think you're going to be one of those sailors? So it sounds like you want to be in for at least 20 years, even potentially 30 years.
Definitely.
So if after 30 years of service, how old would you be when you get out?
Oh, well, I'm 21 right now. This is my first tour. After 20 years or 30 years? Sorry.
So let's say 30.
Okay. So like 50.
50.
Yeah. I'd still look good though, obviously. So.
So where do you see yourself at 51?
Ooh, probably retiring and just living a calm life. But it's like I say that, but it's like retiring. That has never seemed like something that I want to do. Some people, they work for that and they just want to, you know, chill and do nothing. But for me, it's, I don't know, I live with work. I enjoy it a lot. I spend a lot of after hours just there. Whenever people see me and it's like they're coming in the night and I'm still there, it's like, what are you doing here? I'm just, you know, I'm having
How many
fun.
times do I say that to you?
I know. I enjoy work a lot. Specifically, I enjoy the Navy.
So first tour, so you haven't been on a ship, you haven't been on a sub, haven't been a part of the squadron. This is your first experience. Some would say that this is a challenge. This command that we're at right now is a challenge. The size of it, the different, I guess, hats that we have to report to. It's a bit of a challenge, and so the fact that you enjoy that is cool. From my perspective, you know, kind of on the outside looking in, you know, I would consider y'all as junior sailors. You're junior to me, so you know. I don't often perceive it a lot that the sailors at the command that we're at right now, you know, are diehard fans about their job. Do they exist? I think so, but kind of more few and far between than the majority, you know. So, do you have siblings?
Yes, I have two brothers. I have one younger and one older, so I'm in the middle. So I'm forgotten about sometimes. Mom, if you're listening.
What caused you to join? What caused you to want to be in the Navy?
So at the time, I was working at a beauty store called Ulta Beauty, and I liked it to a certain extent, but I knew that I could not make a career out of it, and I needed to do something because I had left college for personal reasons, and I needed to do something because how am I going to get to all of these, you know, excellent goals if I'm not on the right track and not really steering anywhere? And so I started looking into the military, and I first went with the Army. I went and talked to a recruiter. They're like, oh yeah, I'll give you this bonus. And I was like, okay, all right. And then my godfather, he's in the Air Force. He's now retired. And he was like, oh, you should go talk to this recruiter. I set an appointment, and he just didn't pay that much attention to me, which I hear is common. So I then got a call from the Navy, and I talked to this person about it, and I don't know, it was like the first time that I felt secure. Everything felt like it was a yes. And when people ask me, even today, about how I felt on that day, it was like I was supposed to be here. Like everything that, even though I left college, even though I worked at Ulta, I feel like everything led me to be here. And I still believe that to today. And I guess kind of going into boot camp, I was there, I was excited. I had gotten set back because I had broken my toe, and so I was there for an extra month. But I still loved it. And that's kind of where I found the passion of the Navy and what it's here for and what it can do for people, because I'd heard all these stories of people's backgrounds, and, you know, some people were homeless and they're now here and they're eating every day. And it's this Navy, you know, it's filled with so many different kinds of people that come from all these different walks of life, and it brings us all together, and it can make people's lives soar. And that's what I love about it, which is why my ultimate goal, I mean, if I were to see myself at the top, it would be a part of the chain of command at RTC. That would be the pinnacle of my career. I see it. That's what I see it as.
Why RTC? Because it's the beginning, or it's the beginning of a sailor's career? Like why RTC?
Exactly. It's because I feel like that's where the sailors are first like molded and shaped to be a sailor, whether or not it's, super, like life-changing, or if it's just like, you know what, this is going to be pretty cool, my first tour, like maybe I won't stay and maybe I'm just here for just college, but maybe I'll get a good experience out of it. Then I've also heard other stories of, other RDCs that just, have their own reasons for doing that, and they might not be the right ones that I see them as, but I want to be a part of the change that affects sailors from the beginning. So that's what I want to do eventually.
Okay. All right. So 20 to 30 years. CTT1, what are your goals as far as the Navy goes?
Plan on making either Master Chief or going LDO. I have 11 more years left to make either one happen.
So. How long you been in for?
11 years, going in 12 in December.
Okay, so 22. Okay. Petty Officer Davis.
Hello.
Where are you from?
Okay, guys, save the best for last sometimes. So we'll go ahead and wrap everything up in one little box. I'm from Oviedo, Florida, but not many people know where that is. If you do, you're awesome. If you don't, it's a little small city outside of the Orlando in Central Florida. I am one out of 1, 2, 3, 4. I think it's 5 of us. Yeah, 5. No, now it's 6 because I have a new stepsister now. So 1 of 6. I am the middle child. I am the 3rd oldest, and I have 3 younger siblings up under me, and I have a big family, a really big family. So me, I would say, I couldn't get away with anything. Nothing could get past me. Like, I couldn't get away with nothing. So I was always the trouble child because I got in trouble a lot, and I always had to have the last word, which I learned to control.
Is that more common with middle children than with any others? I feel like it's middle to younger children get more trouble than like the older one,
I feel like the oldest child is like, okay, this is their first child. They're learning. So, they're learning at what they're really going to tolerate from their children. And then the middle child is like, they're instilling, oh, I know what my first child did. That's not going to happen. Middle child, you're not getting away with it because they already had those experiences with the oldest child. And then I feel like by the youngest child, they're just tired of doing it. So it's like they get a little bit more lax. They're like, oh, you're like my baby. So that's how I feel like it goes. Because my mom is way more lax with my oldest sister and was way more lax with my youngest sibling out of me, the middle child.
I feel like this is one of them situations where like everyone sees the problem but you. Yeah, it's like 3 people are telling you you were a bad kid, but you don't know because you don't think you were a bad kid. Is it like that?
No, it's like, no, I knew I was bad. I knew I had to have the last word. It's just I was the only one that got caught. That's the key word. I got caught.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
We need to get your siblings on so we can really find out what's going on.
Yeah, I always got caught.
So were you what's the age difference between you and your siblings? Like, did y'all go to school together or?
So my mom and my dad divorced. So they both got remarried. So I have a younger stepsister. She's 15, from my dad's wife. And then I have a half sister from my mom, with my mom and my stepdad. And then my oldest sister, my stepdad, he also had 2 children prior to my mom and them getting married. And then it was before that, between my mom and my dad, it was me, my little brother, and my oldest sister. And she's the oldest out of all of us. So the age difference between my oldest sister and my youngest sister, my oldest sister's turning 26. My youngest sister just turned 4 years old.
Okay. Yeah, I'm in a similar situation. Like I got a younger brother, like 9,
Yeah.
and I'm
So
30, 33, 34. I gotta ask my wife what I am. But okay. What kind of student were you?
oh, so like until I got in like junior year, I didn't think I was a goody two shoe. I just did what the teacher told me to do. But apparently I was a goody two shoe, according to my friends. And I didn't really do anything delinquent wise in school. Like I pretty much didn't get any in trouble in elementary, never got in trouble, except for on the bus. I got bus probation, which I didn't even know existed, but I got bus probation before in elementary. That was the only time I ever got in trouble in elementary. And then middle school, I had this PE teacher. She just had a problem with me, and I don't know why. And she always would write me up every year. Once a year, she would write me up for something. And then high school, I never had any issues in high school, except for I did skip in high school for the first time on my own will, my own free will, twice.
Yeah. Does the Navy know about that?
They know now.
Roger that. Roger that. Why are you in Hawaii active duty? What led you to join the Navy?
So my backstory is my sister's in she's in the military as well. She's in the Navy.
That's right. Yep.
She's a corpsman. As far as me, she went in first, and when she went in, everyone was like, are you going to join? Are you going to join? And I'm like, no, I'm not going to join. Like, the military was never in my plan whatsoever in any shape or form. And I've always, since as young as I can remember, I've always wanted to be in the medical field and be an OBGYN. By the time I got into high school, because my mom had a good extent where she was a single mother, my dad was there, he was president stuff, but just like in the household itself, since my mom was a single mother for a long time, like she always wanted us to do better than she did. So she always pushed us to be better than she did, strive for more, never just be content with what you have. And so by the time she always wanted to expose us to things. Like, she never wanted us to just get stuck where we were and be like closed-minded or anything. She always wanted us to experience new things. So by the time, or for as long as I can remember, she always said, as soon as we got into 9th grade, she said, I'm reminding you, as soon as you graduate high school, you got 90 days to get out of my house. I don't care what you do, you got 90 days to get out of my house. So with that being said, joining the military was just a quick, literally overnight decision, because I got accepted into my #1 college of choice, which was Georgia State University. And then I thought about it, and I thought about the reason why my sister joined, which was school, bills. Like, she did school first before she joined, and she was like, wow, those payments. And I just sat in the bed looking at the ceiling. I was like, yeah, I don't want to be in debt, so I'm gonna join the military. However, when I went, they didn't have corpsmen available, and I was ready to go. And I'm always open to try new things, anything that's interesting in me. Like, I'm always able to try it. And a lot of some of the recruiters I met, they were like, if anything, if you don't see the job that you absolutely want, don't pick a job that you know you absolutely will not want. And so that's why I went in the DEP program. That's what I had in my mindset. I was like, okay, if corpsman's not available, I'm going to do a job that I'm going to find interesting and know that I want to continue to learn about. And so I went there, and he gave me my options, and I said, just give me whichever job leaves first. I read through the paper, the description, and he was like, man, you're going to read everything. I was like, yeah, because y'all not going to get me on something I don't want. And then I just said, you know what? I don't know anything about this type of world, like this field. It's very interesting. I always wanted to learn it. So just give me whichever one leaves first. And then I joined, and then I was in the military. And then here in Hawaii, they ranked us by our GPA to pick orders. And I was 2nd at the time. And I literally, honestly, I picked whichever billet was furthest away from home, which was Hawaii. So now I'm here.
Is it really? Florida, Hawaii? Is there really no further place? Maybe if you lived in the Atlantic Ocean?
Honestly, if they gave me a different country, I would have chose a different country. Like, but all the places that they gave were all in the mainland. And I was like, I'm just waiting for whichever one is further. I started to prepare myself for like, oh, looks like I'm going to have to live in the States. Da, 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 da. And then they're like, oh, and I was like, I'll take it.
So we talked about, maybe this was during a preparation. I forgot when we talked about it, but you mentioned that you did want to go back to school while you're in?
Yes.
Okay. I think I was talking about like a direct commissioning program or something like that. I think we were talking about that.
Yes, I was interested in doing officer, but I have to get my A first before doing the program. So that's what I'm focusing on right now.
Okay. Have you heard of State 21 program?
Oh, that was the program. Yeah, that was the program.
Well, you got to get an AA before you do that?
In the program, like the specific program that I wanted to do, you had to have associates.
Gotcha. Okay. I feel bad for not remembering it because I'm pretty sure because we talked about this when I was trying to sell you to the podcast. When I was like, hey, but I didn't just come in and say, hey, come join the podcast. I was like, hey, what are your intentions? What are your goals?
When you came to me and you sat down and you were like, so you plan on being in the military for 20 years? I was like, I don't know. The military was never a part of my plan, so I'm just taking it tour by tour.
How do you feel about going to a ship?
I'm open to it. I'm actually excited. I hear a bunch of different stories, and with me, I'm not gonna necessarily judge something until I've done it myself.
That's what I tell everybody I have the opportunity to tell them. Don't know. You don't know. I mean, you hear it, but you're hearing it through the perception of someone else who, for all you know, hates life, loves life. You know what I mean? Like, you just don't know.
Because I know people that live here in Hawaii and they absolutely hate it, and they're usually they just stay in the house majority of the time. So I'm like, oh, no wonder why you hate it.
Exactly.
So
yeah. Do something about it.
Exactly.
Hey, look, this is one of the things. Do something. You're in Hawaii, bro. Look.
Exactly. This was my dream vacation, but now I'm living.
Mine too.
My wife, she be like, she wants to go to like Tahiti, or whatever. Whatever islands.
Yeah.
Like, you are on an island. Let's go vacation down the street.
Exactly.
Oh, I want a real vacation. I'm like, people, 30,000, 40,000 people a day come here to vacation.
Exactly.
Vacation in every week. You know what I'm saying? So when you go to Europe, or if you have an opportunity to go to Europe, you can buy airfare $50, $60, fly from Spain to Germany or to Portugal or whatever, right? Over here, you don't have to fly anywhere. And if you do, it's a $50 ticket inter-island to go to Maui or somewhere else. It's just like.
Exactly.
So, yeah. But anyways, what else? What else we got going on?
I tested for second class. I came to Hawaii as a seaman recruit, so I was the E1. I was having a discussion with one of my friends, and they were just like, you seemed like a hard charging sailor when I first got here. And I was like, really? Really? Are you sure? And they're like, yeah. And then they were telling me like all these things that why they thought this, and I was like, no, it's just me as a person. I like to be doing stuff in the community. Like, it's just natural. It's just how I grew up. Like, my family's very family oriented. My city itself is very family oriented, and we do a lot of stuff around the community each year and stuff. So like, me just like sitting there doing nothing, like eventually I'm gonna want to get up and go do stuff. And I never really realized how much I actually did until it was time to do those brag sheets, and I was like, wow, I actually do a lot. Mm-hmm. And I didn't even know people even knew who I was and stuff. And I remember they like in MRD they appointed me MWR rep, and I wasn't even aware of this. And once I found out, I was like, that makes so much sense why people keep coming up to me asking me questions, because I didn't know why they were coming up to me in any shape or form. And I was like, I mean, I knew their answers, but I didn't know why they kept coming up to me. And then as a seaman recruit coming up here as an E1, like, especially in the military, a lot of people say, you know, especially when it comes to brackies, they're just like, oh, it doesn't really matter what you do as E1. Your evals don't really matter that much. And I'm just like, well, I don't care about how y'all perceive it. But for me, I would want to know what my evaluation is. I don't care if I am an E1. I don't care if I'm an E2 or an E3. Like, I still want to do a good job, even if you guys deem as if my eval doesn't matter that much. And a lot of it was like, I became a chaplain assistant for our command for NIOC the first year that I was here. So I got to talk to a lot of sailors coming in and out of the command and just people in general. And anytime I saw like a lower ranking sailor or a sailor that was the same rank as me, I used to always tell them, like, don't let anyone tell you you can't do something. Because I would be doing an event and I would be in charge of those exact same petty officers that told me, oh, your stuff really don't matter and stuff. I'm like, don't let anyone tell you you can't do it. Like, you can, especially if no one else is volunteering for the position. Mm-hmm. You can do it. Like, you can still strive to put your name out there. You can still strive to do like the work ethics and stuff that you want to do. Just because you're lower ranking, don't let them think that you just have to sit there and do nothing. Go out there, experience things, get to know you. It's a great opportunity to get to know your peers. A lot of the peers that I met or personally know, even higher ranking personnel, were through like volunteer events, because I love to volunteer. Mm-hmm. And so a lot of people that I knew, a lot of sailors that I met were more in formal settings. So we got to have a little bit more of that, like one-on-one chats and stuff, and really get to talk like, oh, how are you and stuff, without having the fear of like, oh, I don't want to talk to this person. Like, they're like 5 ranks higher than me. I'm scared and stuff like that. So that was my experience so far when I joined the military. And I still believe it to this day. Like Petty Officer Sorolla said, positional authority. There's been some times where I've checked people that are higher ranking than me, and I'm like, listen, I have positional authority. I just want to remind you of that. And of course I said in a respectful way, but I definitely was shaking on the inside because I was very upset at what they did. But
with tact. No, I subscribe to your philosophy. Hey, so for me, the Navy is, I mean, it's just like anywhere else you would start a career, right? Mm-hmm. And what's cool about it is it's kind of like an experiment. Like, you can kind of experiment. You can get away with some things, you know, and we could talk about this in later episodes, right? But, you know, sometimes I feel like I was blessed at least twice in my career. At least twice. I did at least 2 things that would have caused me to be put out the Navy, and the leadership had my back. You know, they saw potential, and I'm super blessed. But you know, and so I needed those things. I don't regret any of that stuff because, well, honestly, all of those, I guess I would call them failures back in the day, were necessary for me to be where I am right now, my mindset. And I don't know where I'd be without them. I'd be some cocky, arrogant dude. Yeah. Still might be a little bit, but it's a great experiment. It's a great experiment to really build on, you know, your ethic and those relationships that we are in a very unique, I personally believe we're in a very unique situation where you may not get it that much at this command. You might, you know, but when you go to a ship, who was I talking about this to earlier? I was talking to somebody. Oh yeah, one of my sailors. When you go to a ship, like, you have no other choice but to know that D seaman, that H teaman, that SH person, this person, that person, those OSs, the people who are running your water, the people who are hooking you up with ESWA signatures and things like that. You have no other choice because you're sleeping in the same berthing as them. and you eat on the same mess decks as them, and you go to the same smoke pit as them, and you do this and do that, and it's just it really truly is a home away from home, a family away from family. And I mean, where else do you get that from other than in other services, right? So 1%, you know, we are 1% of the population, and we have this awesome opportunity to experiment. You don't like something, you can roll out in 3 years, it's right again. It's nuts. It's so awesome. So, well, I mean, that's pretty. Go ahead.
I also will say, like, as far as like learning experiences, since I've been in the military as a like personal development, just according to like my upbringing, I didn't really live a sheltered life, any of that sort. And I have a lot of friends that like grew up in more sheltered lives, so we have different perspectives on how we do things and how we might live and stuff like that. So like for me going into the military, a lot of the characteristics that I display as a sailor up to this day haven't really changed since when I was younger. Like the same aspects that I talk to other sailors with and talk to them about, especially if they're like the same rank as me and they might feel like they're not that important. Like I still like to support people. It's always been. Now, the one thing I will say that the military did change me on, I am more impatient, and like boot camp really shortened my patience for people. Like I used to be the most patient, nicest person ever, but like the military definitely did change that. So my patience has gotten a little smaller since then. But but being a chaplain assistant though, it did teach me like how to take what one person might be feeling more seriously. Because like, you know, if you're not feeling the same type of way another person is, you might be like, oh, okay, I don't see why that's so important or whatever. But becoming a chaplain assistant and talking to people and helping them, it really made me empathize with people more. And exactly, like, especially with like mental health in the military and stuff like that. Like you don't really think about that growing up unless you have it in your family. And I never really experienced any of that like firsthand, or knew a lot of people with like those type of issues and stuff. And then when I became an adult, and especially once I joined the military, it's like, wow, like this is actually like things people actually go through and stuff. And that part, it helped me change in a way of learning how to see the other side and try to understand what someone else or where someone else might be coming from when they explain things to me. Yeah, that's what I got.
I dig it. Hey, y'all, I'll be honest, I gotta go pick up my daughter soon. I accomplished my goal. I mean, my objective was just to learn a little bit more about y'all. Thinking about Petty Officer Battaglia, the Protector, these are my sailors. Like, I mean, that's the way to do things, you know?
While I may be the Protector, I'm still probably one of the more misunderstood people in the world. So if you misunderstand something, just ask me.
I think our frequencies they're not, I don't think they're here yet, but they're getting closer and closer.
Because
more and more you talk to me, the more you'll understand my line of logic, and you'll find that 99% of the time I might actually be right. A little crazy, but I might be right.
I hear you. Petty Officer Roller.
You'll definitely be like a big older sibling to me, because we're definitely gonna butt heads, because I like to think that I'm right too. So this is gonna be interesting.
The older brother always wins.
I think Petty Officer Sorolla is just determined and hungry. Master Chief, not McPun.
I don't know if I could do it.
I think you can do McPon.
I don't know. Like what's the career map for that? I don't know. We'll see.
Make Chief, then you make Master Chief, then you go to CMC, and then you become a Force.
Yeah.
And then how hard could it be?
But we won't hold up Chief, because he got to pick his daughter up. So
yeah.
No.
Not Chief.
I'm looking at the time.
Oh, okay. You know, I don't want to get you in trouble.
Right.
I guess I'll ask this question. So before you are up there at that Master Chief level, right? Potentially McPon. Do you think there'll be a female McPon?
I don't think so. I don't think so, and I don't think there will be.
I don't think so.
As much as I would want it to be, as much as I would want a female president and all these, female of, high power, that's a whole other topic we're going to have, is I don't think that it's going in the direction that I would expect it to be now. But would I like to be the first? Obviously, but I don't know. That's the stars.
I get it. Hey, I'll save my own personal opinions for another show. Petty Officer Davis.
Yes, Chief.
Every time I talk to you, you're becoming like more and more of one of my favorite people. So that's about all I got, y'all. Thank you for letting me host, asking y'all questions. Next time, I'd like for us to have more of like a back and forth. This was kind of like an interview structure.
Yeah, more one way.
Yeah.
But it was more comfortable. Obviously, we didn't have a commander on the show, and I may not have necessarily fostered that opportunity to have that type of discussion. But hey, I got what I was looking for. So
no, it was good. Thank you so much for hosting this, Chief.
Yeah,
I believe I am officially fired.
Hey, dude. What is that?
Bro,
What is
no one said you're fired.
We love our daddy? We love our dad?
Where are you reading
The
this
dogs. It's on my shirt.
Oh.
That was my Father's Day present because we have 2 dogs.
I was going to say, is that your dog or do you actually have actual dogs?
We do have 2 dogs.
Okay. All right.
They will appear eventually. As long as I keep the door shut, they don't come in here.
Would they be just jumping all over you otherwise?
They would annoy me, yes.
Gotcha.
They always wait until I start working.
All right. I suppose did we do the disclaimer just as a reminder to everybody watching? These are not the views and opinions of our Navy or of our command. These are our own personal opinions. If we know what's right and wrong, and if we have rules and regulations for everything, what is next to learn about? That is each other. And I accomplished a little bit more of that today. So look forward to continuing this conversation with y'all, next week or 2 weeks? I'll be honest with you, it doesn't take much out of my day to record for an hour if we wanted to do something like this every week. But that's my opinion. We can talk about it later on. So.
Yeah. And don't forget to like, comment, subscribe to this channel, share, look at
hit
our
the
other
notification
videos.
button.
Yes, hit the notification button so you know what the Navy, what's going on, what we're going to be talking about. That's all I have.
I feel like Petty Officer Rollers, you got to say something now.
Thanks for watching.
All right, y'all. Hey, I'll see y'all.
Bye.
Bye.